All right. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to this evening's webinar, the Yale Angels Pitch Off for Female and Underrepresented Founders. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ellen Sue, Yale College Class of 2013. I am a member of the leadership team of Accelerate Yale and Yale Angels. Our discussion this evening is sponsored by the Yale Office of Development and is co-sponsored by Yale Women, the Yale Black Alumni Association, the Yale Latino Alumni Network, the Association of Asian American Alumni at Yale, and Yale Gala. Accelerate Yale and Yale Angels is a global community of diverse alumni and friends of Yale who are engaged in innovation, tech, and entrepreneurship. Please note that we are being recorded this evening with all participants muted. Tonight's session will last approximately 1 hour and 45 minutes. We are unfortunately not taking questions from the audience this evening, but our judges will be asking questions of the pitch participants. We have 5 teams competing this evening. Each one will pitch for 5 minutes and have 5 minutes for questions for the judges. The judges will take a 10 to 15 minute break after the pitches to select a winner. While they're gone, please don't go away because we will be sharing information on our semifinalists, upcoming events, and prizes during that time. We are aiming to wrap up by 8 p.m. You will hear, you will hear from our competitors shortly, but first I would also like to introduce our Master of Ceremonies this evening, my teammate Wendy Maldonado de Amico, Yale College Class in 1993.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you. It's so great to see everybody here tonight. So before we get started, I did want to acknowledge that we have a wonderful sponsor for our pitch competition tonight. Hold on just a second. I'm getting a message that the audio is not working. So let me just double check here with the messages. Okay. Okay, everyone is saying that they can hear, so just double checking. Usman, just please check your audio as everyone else in the audience can hear. Thank you very much for double checking with us. So I just wanted to acknowledge that we wanted to thank our lead sponsor for tonight's pitch competition. Let me just pull up our sponsor slide here. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm getting a little, there we go. Okay. I'm supposed to be, you know, a pro at all this, and it's, hold on just 1 second, you guys. I'm supposed to be the pro here. What's going on? Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I just wanted to acknowledge our sponsor of the Yale Office of Development, who has been a staunch supporter of Yale Angels and Accelerate Yale for many years now. So we just wanted to say that the Yale Office of Development is incredibly pleased to sponsor the Yale Angels pitch competition for female and underrepresented founders. And they have just kicked off their new campaign for humanity. You can check out that campaign at forhumanity.yale.edu. It's a very inspiring campaign, and we hope that all of you will join in supporting that particular campaign through the Office of Development. We'd also like to acknowledge our other co-sponsors, including Yale Women, the Yale Black Alumni Association, the Yale Latino Alumni Network, Yale Gala, the Association of Asian American Alumni at Yale, and this event is supported by the Yale Alumni Association shared interest groups. So what I'd like to do is just kind of introduce our judges now. I will introduce each judge and she will come onto the screen and introduce herself. So first, I would like to bring Anna Barber onto the screen. Anna.
Hi, Wendy. Thanks for having me. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
You want me to introduce myself?
Yes, if you could just say your title and your
Absolutely. First, and most importantly, Anna Barber, Yale 90, Law 95. I am a partner at venture fund M13 based in Los Angeles, and we're a consumer Series A fund. Very happy to be here.
Thank you. Paula.
Thanks, Wendy. Great to be here. I am Paula Roberts, Yale class of 1998, and I'm a managing director at KKR, which is a global private equity firm.
Wonderful. Welcome, Paula. Leslie. We can't hear you, Leslie. Sure.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes, I think it doesn't work. So, hi, I'm Leslie Goldman, and I am class of 88. I'm general partner and co-founder of the Artemis Fund, which is a seed stage venture capital fund that invests in mission-driven female founders in fintech, e-commerce, and cure tech.
Excellent. Thank you. Welcome,
Thank you
Leslie.
for having me.
Sure. And last but not least, Rebecca.
Hi, it's great to be here. I'm Rebecca Lou Doyle, class of 2014. I'm a principal at Insight, which is a venture capital through to pre-IPO stage fund based in New York. We invest in software and internet companies.
Thank you. Okay, so are you guys, are all of you ladies excited? I was going to say guys, but that doesn't seem quite right? So I hope that you are as excited as we are to see our pitch contestants this evening. So without any further delay, I would like to call on our first pitch contestant to come up, Hedi Katz. So Hedi, I'm going to go off screen and you're going to be allowed to share your screen and start presenting. Just very quickly, each team has 5 minutes to present and 5 minutes to take questions from our judges, and we will be taking time. So Ellen will be keeping time behind the scenes here for everybody. Okay, so whenever you're ready, Hedi.
Share my screen. Okay, I'm ready. I'm Hedi Katz. I'm a co-founder of Advasys, a company that was formed to better the lives of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDD. IDD affects 2 to 3% of the population. It used to be known as mental retardation. It includes Down syndrome and autism, and is characterized by problems with intellectual functioning, or IQ, or social and practical skills, such as ability to bathe, dress, work, and even read social cues. An estimated $100 billion a year is spent on medical and residential care for this population in the US. Yet despite these huge public expenditures, people with IDD suffer tremendous health challenges and healthcare inequities. They live 20 years less than the average person, suffer higher rates of disease, are far less likely to get preventative care, and 37% of their deaths are considered to be preventable. These health challenges are further exacerbated by rampant physical and sexual abuse in this population. A person with IDD is 7 times more likely than the average person to experience sexual abuse. And a woman with IDD has an 85% chance of experiencing sexual abuse. These numbers make this population one of the most harmed in the US. So what's going on? Well, for starters, people with IDD often have trouble communicating, may even be nonverbal. And as you probably already know, it's very difficult to manage your own medical care and safety, let alone someone with difficulty communicating. Family members and caregivers don't know what to look for. They'll often show up at a doctor's office with a binder full of unhelpful information. And speaking of doctors, in survey after survey, 90% of them admit that they don't have the knowledge, skills, or time to properly treat their IDD patients. Advasys fixes these issues by turning the right data into good care. Our system accepts data from multiple sources, primarily from caregivers who answer questions about a person's health, function, and activities with more detail than a doctor could at the point of care. We also envision the integration of wearable sensor data. There's evidence from our collaborators at MIT that this data may enhance our current detection algorithms for sexual abuse. Our tool provides guidance for everybody in the person's circle of care. Reports of health risks are sent to family members and caregivers to help guide them to find proper care. Doctors get a report that includes the issues that our system detected, as well as suggestions for full evaluations.
We also provide aggregate population-based information for decision makers that can be researched and analyzed for best practices, something which is non-existent in the US today. It can also be customized for specific groups, and as the database grows, the system can use AI to further enhance the sensitivity and specificity of our algorithms. As with many software systems, the Advasys system is priced as a subscription service on a per enrollee or IDD individual basis. Our pricing of less than $42 a month compares with anticipated savings of $5,800 to $29,000 per person per year. This represents a range of 10 to 50% savings on relevant health and residential costs. So even at the low end, the savings represent multiples of the price. And this is true even with the additional cost of a wearable device. This translates to almost $60 million in 5 years. Of revenue. This assumes a cumulative total of 86,000 enrollees, or less than 2% of the total addressable market. This high growth goal is achievable because each of our initial target customers represent between 10 and 90,000 potential enrollees. Dr. Susan Abend is the inventor of the system and served this community as a physician for over 20 years. I worked in finance for 16 years and am inspired by my sister Shari, who was born IDD. Our tech guru, Chris, has built several healthcare systems from the ground up. Several competitive advantages will help us create a moat around the business and achieve our goals. Dr. Abend is one of only a handful of experts in the US in the proper care and treatment of those with IDD. Our pending patent incorporates algorithms that would be very difficult, make it very difficult for anyone to replicate our system. And our existing partnerships, along with several interested customers, will help propel us to the next level. For example, the director of the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities, Jeff Davis, has expressed that he wants to implement the Advasys system in all state-run facilities. Thanks so much for listening. I'd love to open it up for questions.
Thanks, Hedi. That was a terrific presentation, and clearly there's a huge need for this product. My question for you is around the high-level development. So what was the test population or approach to figuring out the quote-unquote algorithm, and how would you describe the error rate in making diagnoses? So the system was initially developed at a nonprofit organization called the Right Care Now Project, which was founded by Dr. Abend in 2014. And she spent a number of years, even prior to that, working and collaborating with various other doctors in the IDD community, coming up with the algorithms and the different issues that are pretty specific to the IDD population, very common in the IDD population. She was able to create a prototype with the help of eClinicalWorks, which is one of the largest electronic health record companies in the US, and then tested it on 146 people with IDD at a residential provider in the state of Massachusetts. And in only 1 quarter, 41 participants benefited from 86 medical, dental, and residential interventions that were local and inexpensive and avoided a potential health crisis or hospitalization.
Hi, Heidi, that was great. Can you tell us a little bit more about how information gets into the wearable? Is it all biometrics? I didn't catch it.
Yeah, it is all biometrics. So there are about 9 manufacturers that have the technology that, so the technology exists. So it's BioBeat, heart rate, microsweat, and so on. And sexual abuse was so common in this population that the team practically stumbled on a signature for sexual abuse that is completely unique to sexual abuse. And it can be detected via the wearable device. So it could be on the wrist, it could be a patch. There are a number of different manufacturers that are experimenting with different types of ways to wear it, because you may or may not know, for example, somebody who's autistic may not want to wear something on their wrist. So there are a couple of different possibilities, but yeah, the technology already exists, and it's a signature that would trip our system's algorithm for sexual abuse.
So what is being patented?
So the algorithms are being patented. And I mean, the processes, the algorithms, the whole system.
Thanks, Hedi. That was great. How close are you to being ready to roll this out to a large population?
Yeah, so we are so once we have the funds that we need for for MVP completion, we're about 6 to 12 months away. We already have, as I mentioned, we already have a prototype that was tested with about 22 conditions. We now have over 65. And we have a team ready to go. We have a couple of a little bit more work we'd like to do around UX and UX design, but we estimate about 6 to 12 months before we have MVP. And we have, as I mentioned, a number of interested customers already that want this.
On that point around interested customers, how do you foresee the go-to-market would look like for this?
Yeah.
Early days and then at scale.
I'm sorry?
Early days and then at scale.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So actually, let me go to a different slide. But well, okay. So we envision we would start in primarily 2 B2B markets, the main one being state departments of developmental disability services. So these are the folks that are responsible for the dissemination of public funds for their IDD citizens. And they are under tremendous pressure right now to be more effective with their funds, largely because of the healthcare challenges and inequities that I mentioned. And there are staffing shortages. This would help them retain staff. And they're also looking to actively reduce their liability risk because there have been a number of lawsuits against states and state-run facilities. The other B2B piece are residential and direct service providers, whether they're private or publicly funded. They're also seeking to reduce costs, to reduce the stress on staff. It costs them a lot every time somebody has to go to the doctor or hospital. And there have also been a number of high-profile cases against both public and private DSPs that have resulted in expensive settlements and in some cases closures. And then I would say in a few years down the road, although we already have some sibling organizations interested, family members would be more of a B2C play. These folks are less cost conscious, but much more concerned about their loved ones. There's a growing awareness of abuse risk, and they have firsthand knowledge of the issues around healthcare. So they're actively looking for tools.
Okay, that's all. We're all done. So well done, Hedi. Congratulations on completing your pitch. We now would like to move on to Eleanor Brown of DiversiBoard.
Thank you. Are you seeing and hearing me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you, Eleanor.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So when you're ready, you can share your screen. Okay, all set.
Okay, great, fabulous. My name is Eleanor Brown. I'm here to talk to you today about our company of which I'm a co-founder, DiversiBoard. So what's the problem? The problem is that in tech companies, we have a history of missing out on qualified people of color, particularly Black people and particularly Black women. Why? There is a lot of behavioral economics literature more generally on why people of color are not hired, not so much in the tech sector. But if you look at the literature more generally, it tells you that one of the major theses is that it's human nature. People tend to hire using feel and consensus. They tend to hire from people they know, and their networks determine who they hire. And if those networks do not have people of color or Black people or Black women, they tend to not be included. We have the data telling us talent drives companies, and those companies with high ethnic and cultural diversity are much more likely to have industry-leading profitability. So there is no question here as to the need for this solution. So what do? We're utilizing patented candidate testing. We're helping companies hire highly qualified people of color from a widened pool. It's an international pool. And we call it the DiversiBoard difference. Working with a team of my colleagues from Penn State who have put together testing. We test employees across aptitude, psychometrics, and skill tests. We then put together what we call a fingerprint. Forgive me, I'm a law professor. We couldn't resist the word fingerprint. And then we go into our pool and test our pool utilizing those same metrics and create individual candidate fingerprints, which we share with the companies. So that's what we're doing. We call it the DiversiBoard difference. What's our mantra? We get up every morning thinking about this: talent is everywhere, opportunity is not. The opportunity of our time is to fix that. That's what we're about. That's what drives us. Okay, so here are a few figures from the tech recruiting industry. Post George Floyd, there has been high diversity awareness, and there have been significant engineering shortages. No need for me to repeat these numbers, except to note that there's a 9 percentage point difference between Black people in the US workforce versus Black engineers who are actually in Silicon Valley. And this 9 billion figure I have here for US executive recruiting does not include DEI budgets, which expanded significantly in the last 12 to 18 months. So what's the model? We'll have companies pay an annual subscription. It's what we believe is a modest amount and in keeping with what the market currently charges, 10K. And then we have an incentive to place and place well, because we're going to receive a percentage of the first year salary for each candidate placement. The average first year salary, since we're mostly dealing with junior engineers and computer scientists, is a little over 100K depending on the market. What's the go-to-market strategy? We're recruiting primarily from my native Caribbean. I am a national of Jamaica, CARICOM, which is a Caribbean community, the US and Canada. We're going to begin in Canada. It's a stealth start. It's a simpler immigration protocol, more welcoming immigration laws. You can get visas in 60 days if you're Jamaican, Trinidadian, or Kenyan. And we have been teaming up partnerships. So we're already working on those. I've included some of the names here. Here's a little bit of a quadrant setup so you can see where we fall. Our aim is to do high match quality and high diversity. I look forward into the Q&A in answering some more questions about that. This is a little bit about who I am. I graduated Yale Law School in '99. Before that, I was a Rhodes Scholar. I have been a director of several companies, both public and private, in my native Caribbean and in Canada. I think the thing that's most relevant for me now is that I am a professor at Penn State. We're the 9th largest university. I am one of less than 15 Black women who are full professors. I end up on a lot of committees. I'm always up at 2 o'clock in the morning looking for technical talent. It's my passion. It's what drives me. We're in central Pennsylvania, not far from Carnegie Mellon and Pittsburgh. We're not far from a tech hub. That's how I got involved in this. This is our board of directors, Black women who have backgrounds in tech and biotech. Biotech is where we're heading next. We have started with software engineers and computer scientists. A little bit more about who we're talking with right now. A little bit more about our timetable for proof of concept. We're recruiting and testing 2,000 to 3,000 engineers from the Caribbean and sub-Saharan African nations, 6 sub-Saharan African countries, building a web platform with early stage testing capabilities. We're working already with tech companies, 5 to 10 Canadian tech companies, and our goal is to match and place 35 to 50 engineers. These are very modest goals. We are already on our way to these goals. And this is a little bit about what our financial outlook is. I would note that we expect to have about 18,000 candidates by the end of year 3.
Okay, that's time. Okay, so I'll take you off mute. I'm sorry. Okay. Whoops, hold on. Let me unmute you. Why is it? Hold on a second, Eleanor. Why is it not unmuting you? Eleanor, can you unmute yourself? No, it's not allowing me to. Hold on just one moment. Ask to unmute. There we go. Oops. I think we're hitting the button at the same time. There you go. Okay, go for it. Sorry about that, Eleanor. My apologies.
No problem. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Eleanor. That was great. I've looked at a number of platforms in the diversity hiring arena, including with respect to engineering. First of all, it's great to see another YLS entrepreneur. So fantastic to meet you. When you talk about a fingerprint for a company, is that describe what the elements of that are? Like, what does that profile look like? Because that feels to me to be really essential to what differentiates this business.
Yes, so what we have done is we have spoken to companies. They have said, these are our priority hiring. And then we have a team. I have really gotten a lot of subsidies from Penn State, which is a huge state institution. We have a strong organizational psychology department. And they have gone in with me and spoken to the people in HR, and they have said, this is what we prioritize. These are our best performing people. And then we take those metrics and we utilize those metrics in our pool. Right now we have nearly 2,000 engineers, and we have the clinic here at the law school has filed a patent for us. So have I answered your question? I hope so.
I think so. I was trying to understand if you were building a profile of the type of person that would be successful at that company, which might include skills and kind of other, other elements reflecting what was specific to that company. So I was just trying to understand
yes,
what you meant by fingerprint. Yeah,
absolutely. That is why the team is working with specific companies. So the answer to that question, very short, very quickly, is yes.
And then when you think about what the right client or what kind of target clients you would be looking at, would these be primarily tech companies that are hiring entry-level engineers in large numbers? Like, what does your sort of top of funnel target customer pool look like?
The people that we're talking to now are all tech companies that are hiring engineers in large numbers. All of them fit that profile. We may go to others later on, but that's where we're starting. So that is accurate.
Got it. Thank you.
And a follow-up question on the fingerprint, Eleanor. Board matching, as you know, is often, partially based on hard skills, but also on the fit, the relationship, the background. What does, your psychometric capture, and how does that play into the fingerprint?
Well, we ask people questions that I would characterize as having to do with EQ. When have you been part of a team? What role did you play in the team? When have you done leadership? What role did you play in leadership? Have you been in multiracial settings? Have you been in multicultural settings? Did you feel comfortable in those settings? The persons in organizational psychology at Penn State who work on this have helped design a set of questions which we can apply to the candidates. And then we utilize that information and share it with the companies depending on what their priorities are. But it's very much about fit. And I think if we were to be less than honest about the fact that particularly when you're hiring diverse candidates, particularly when you're hiring Black people, and particularly when you're hiring Black women, that is very much in the back of people's minds. And the behavioral economics research clearly shows that. So I think to avoid asking those questions would be naive, and we have confronted it head on.
Fantastic.
Eleanor, is your vision ultimately that this fingerprint scoring methodology feeds into some other platform, or is this a platform in and of itself for sourcing, for vetting, for closing candidates?
Right now, it's designed as a platform in and of itself that stands alone and works well. Having said that, I teach private equity and venture capital. That's part of my academic discipline. And I would be less than forthcoming if I didn't tell you that I think about exit. So ultimately, I would hope that people who are interested in us would be people who would ask precisely the questions that you would ask. But currently, we're working as a standalone platform.
Thank you.
We have time for another question. Okay, well, I'll ask it. So there's two questions I want to ask, so I got to decide which one. First, let me just start with Anna talked about the fact that there are a lot of companies trying to get at this. Can you distinguish yourself from some of those? Talk a little about the competition.
Well, let me say this. I would not be doing this if I did not feel like I could source large numbers of diverse candidates, particularly Black engineers and particularly Black women. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't feel I could do that. I happen to be a very fortunate person. I happen to think that the best place in the world to possibly have been born is Jamaica. And so we're 16 majority Black countries, and I have a background in many of them, and I have relationships that allow me to find them. So I think that our major advantage is that we have an ability to source these people. I mean, in a very short period of time, I found a lot of Black people with a background in engineering. So I could tell you a lot of other things, but I think that's the most important thing. And I think that Canada is very helpful. The reason I was on a board of a Canadian company is because Canada has a huge footprint in the Caribbean. They're comfortable with Black people from the Caribbean. Most Black people from Canada originated in the Caribbean. And so it's a natural match and a good place to start.
Time. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eleanor. Great job. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, judges, for your excellent questions. And so we've heard from Advasys, Hedi Katz, and we've heard from Eleanor Brown of DiversiBoard. And now I would like to welcome to the stage Selina Tirtajana. Please forgive me for massacring your name.
You got
Selina,
it right.
please,
You got it perfect,
can
Wendy.
you please say your name for us so that everyone knows what it's supposed to sound like?
Yeah, my name is Selina Tirtajana.
It's so beautiful. Thank you. Take it away with Jawsaver.
Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Selina. I'm a graduate of Yale School of Public Health 2011. And today I'm here to talk to you about Jawsaver. We make biofeedback devices for bruxism. So show of hands. Well, we're online right now. So maybe if you unmute yourself and just say yes. How many of you catch this news last year? This works much better in live pitch. So I'm just going to roll with it. I'm just going to assume a few people raise their hand in the audience. And so turns out dentists are seeing record numbers of cracked teeth last year because people are grinding and clenching their teeth a lot due to pandemic stress. What these articles didn't tell you is that teeth grinding or teeth clenching has been a problem for a very long time. It affects a lot of people and there's not a good solution for it. So to be exact, 1 in 5 adults grind or clench their teeth subconsciously. Some of them do this only while they're asleep, and some people do it while they're awake. Research has shown that the forces during these bruxism episodes are up to 10 times stronger than while you're regularly chewing your food. 10 times, that's a lot. So it's no wonder then that people who do this regularly, I call them chronic grinders or chronic bruxers, experience headaches and migraines, jaw and facial pain, sore and tense neck muscles in the morning, and of course, expensive teeth fractures, broken fillings and crowns, and in some cases, tinnitus. I'm very familiar with all of these because I'm a chronic bruxer myself. Now, the solution that's currently pushed to us, the default solution, is mouth guard. When you go to people and tell them that, oh yeah, I grind my teeth, the first thing people say, well, isn't there that mouth guard that you can use? Well, after talking to hundreds of teeth grinders and clenchers, one thing we know, my co-founder and I found, is that nobody likes a piece of plastic in their mouth. Also, this piece of plastic doesn't really stop anything about the behavior. It merely protects the teeth so that you don't destroy it more. And because of this, a lot of people try Botox or pharmaceutical, in this case, sleeping pills, which works to a certain extent, but it's not a sustainable long-term solution. And in some cases, mouthguard actually makes things worse or people can't really sleep well with it. So it led my co-founder and I to think, what if there is actually a comfortable, non-invasive device that actually help people stop or reduce the behavior? And that's how Jawsaver was born. We make the world's first smart earbuds bruxism. And you were probably wondering what's the relationship between teeth grinding and clenching and the ear. That seems very, very off topic. Well, let's see if the video plays. Or you can also just touch you can touch your ear a little bit. When you move your jaw, it actually moves and changes the shape of your ear canal. So our in-ear sensor monitors jaw movement, and the AI can differentiate between normal jaw movement, so that's yawning, opening your mouth, and we'll be able to tell when a person is actually clenching or grinding their teeth. And when that bruxism episode is detected, the earbuds will gently vibrate and stop the bruxism episode. So earlier this year, we built a very crude prototype simply to test the hypothesis that vibration biofeedback can stop and reduce audible grinding. We found that every single tester in the test experienced immediate reduction and reduced their grinding duration by an average of 50%. So that's really encouraging. And even though the vibration was delivered on the wristband, we feel that this was a proof that vibration biofeedback does something. And now we're working on bringing both the detection and the vibration together in one form factor in the ear. So with that paid beta test, we also have a few hundred people on the wait list with very, very little marketing and ad spend. And in a few of our marketing tests, we found that our customer acquisition cost is less than 10% of ASP. And this is because people are already out there searching for a solution for their clenching and grinding problem, which provides a fertile soil for us to launch this as an e-commerce product. So if this year was all about prototyping and testing and filing our patent, next year will be our banner year where we will launch this product through a crowdfunding campaign. And the reason why we want to launch it through crowdfunding campaign is to build a group of enthusiastic users that can help us iterate and continue growing and improving the product. Eventually, we want to get clinical data, and we've already started discussions with a few bruxism centers here in the Netherlands. And we want to get FDA and CE mark, not because they are required for commercialization, but because we want to get specific claims with regards to treatment or reduction of bruxism. And the final goal will be to get.
Okay, so we're at time. That's okay, Selina, you did great. All right, so now we're going to open it up for questions.
One question, this is fantastic, really innovative. To what extent do you have customer satisfaction data? Have the test patients rated the device? Do you have any information on willingness to pay? And what is then your margin on each product, your unit margin? You're still muted, I think.
Okay. Thank you for your question. That's really great question. So satisfaction rate is 100% of people who try this product want to keep them. And they were willing to pay 150, which is 50% of the ASP, which is what we offer them because it's a very crude prototype. And sorry, there was another question that you have. Oh, and also another metric that we found from the beta test is they have to wear this for 6 weeks and nobody misses wearing. So, everyone wears it every single day without fail, which goes to show that the product is very much wearable. People like it. It doesn't disturb or interfere with their sleep. It doesn't give them a bad night's sleep the day after. And they just find it as a better solution than what they have currently.
And thank you for providing that additional detail. So after 6 weeks, you no longer need to wear the device?
Oh, after 6 weeks, that was the length of the test. So we asked them, do you want to keep your device? On average, people see reduction of about 50% in that 6 weeks. And we asked them, do you still want to keep the device and pay for it? And basically, yeah, all of them say, yes, we want to keep it.
And last question, is it just a single one-time cost to the user, or is it a subscription model?
So right now we're looking at a one-time cost. However, we could see in the future of moving it more into a subscription model where they can basically pay if they want to have the biofeedback, and if not, they can just use it for tracking, which be at a lower price point. So it's something that we're experimenting with, but initially we'll have it more as a one-time cost.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Selina, a couple questions. Really innovative products, love it. Are you seeing greater efficacy over time? So is the efficacy cumulative is my first question. And then the second one is I'd love to hear a little bit more about your team.
Sure. So the efficacy is something that we're still measuring. One thing for sure, there seems to be a residual effect after the initial use. So let's say they use it for 6 weeks, so for 4 weeks, and then they see 50% decrease. And then if they stop the biofeedback for that first 2 weeks, the effect will remain there, but then it starts creeping up. So it seems that, and I think over time we learned that bruxism is actually more of a natural reflex. It's just that in some people, we don't have the break for our bodies to say, hey, it's enough, don't stop grinding, stop clenching, because grinding and clenching does have a beneficial effect sometimes. It's just that when you do it too much, then it becomes bad. So, so I don't see us ever curing bruxism, to answer your question, but I think we can get it down to a manageable level so that people don't have these painful side effects or expensive dental damages that they have right now. And then your second question is about the team. And let me see. Yeah. So the 2 full-time is my co-founder, Gabriel, and myself. So my background is fully in medical device, product development, business development, as well as marketing. And his background is more in data analysis. But we have 2 advisors who are very involved, who are signal processing experts as well as AI/ML experts. And then we have part-time contractors and engineers to help us with the development of the product.
Thanks.
If you think about, Selina,
Yeah.
the long-term kind of moat around this product, like, are you planning to get any patents? If so, what components of this will you patent? What is the hardest part of the actual tech that you've cracked?
Yeah, thank you. So yes, we are filing a patent this month, which is on both the method is tricky. On both the device design itself, the algorithm, as well as the biofeedback delivery. So we have a patent protection for that. And then on top of that, there is a data moat around this. Currently, there is no other bruxism device out there that's collecting data. And just for sleep in general, it's very hard to get high resolution, longitudinal sleep and bruxism data. So we see this, and the reason why we're really excited about crowdfunding is we can immediately get a lot of users and I think a lot of these people are really excited about helping the research that they're willing to share, and for us to also use the data to further improve our algorithm and being able to really say at what stage of sleep do people mostly grind, at what stage of the episode itself should we deliver the biofeedback. So I see us growing.
Okay, I have to be fair. That's okay. That's okay. So Selina, thank you so very much. Great job.
Thank you.
We're going to move along, and our next pitch contestant is Melody Roberts with Liv Labs. Melody, are you here? Hi, Melody. Welcome.
Hello.
Okay. All right. Good luck.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Melody Roberts, as you heard. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Liv Labs, and we make solutions for incontinence. 27 million American women worry about leaking pee in public. This includes athletes, even young ones, gymnasts, runners, like weightlifters. It includes new mothers experiencing leaking initially postpartum. And very importantly, it's dominated by women in midlife and beyond. 1 in 2 women over 50 are leaking. And when they do, about 1/3 of them will go to see a clinician and walk away with the idea that there's kind of a binary solution. They can try Kegels, which are pelvic floor muscle exercises, not too complicated, but difficult to learn for many and requiring discipline, or surgery, which is obviously it's a proposition with some risk and not something most women want to do. As a result of which, get jumped. Well, there's a range of other solutions, in fact, a dizzying array. And so most women ultimately hang up their running shoes, reduce their physical activity, avoid social interaction where they might embarrass themselves, like parties where they would laugh too hard. And they start wearing incontinence pads, spending about $750 a year on average. Our company is developing a holistic approach that's simpler and more straightforward under one brand that we call Liv Labs Fitness. We will offer a simple medical device to keep women dry at the gym and a virtual fitness platform with semi-automated health coaching, all affordable and all available direct to consumer. It starts with this device, which my co-founder invented for herself. I'll show you one in the other window. As you can see, it's soft and squishy, kind of like a menstrual cup, and it's easily worn just like a tampon, inserted into a reusable applicator, pressed through the vagina up above the pelvic floor where it's comfortable, very often not even felt, and for many women reduces or stops their leaking altogether. Now, our very first research participant leaked over a cup without using our device and less than a quarter teaspoon with the device, excuse me. And in fact, the results we had from that initial feasibility study were so stellar that we landed a $1.67 million NIH grant, bringing our overall fundraising to $2.4 million, 80% of it non-dilutive, including a pending NSF grant to help us get after our digital platform development. We also got investment from Y Combinator, and the reason for that is this is a very big market. My slides are not advancing. Whoop. Yes, it's about 7 billion US and 10 times that globally. In fact, 100,000 customers are already worth $50 million a year in revenue, and we can reach 300 million with less than 4% of the category. This is a medical device. It's a class 2 medical device, which means we are going through a regulatory process, a 510K, which is as simple as a regulatory process can get. We anticipate clearance in about 18 months. We'll be kicking off our clinical trial with recruiting this December at Northwestern University. As I mentioned, I have a co-founder, Carly Price. She's the inventor of the product. We go back to the 90s. We worked together at Smart Design, and then eventually both found our way into corporate jobs. I led the modernization of service at McDonald's globally for about a decade, and Carly has held a series of executive level design leadership positions, including head of product at Casper, where they, I would say, reinvented the pillow. We, of course, don't do this alone. There's a big cast of characters. Our core team on the left, a host of talented advisors, and some expert consultants. We're Liv Labs, making solutions for incontinence. And I welcome your questions.
Well, so thank you for that. And I could see that it is a big problem. So it's interesting, though, that the market is that big. I didn't realize it was that big. Did you talk about when you're going to start clinical trials? When did you say we're going to
We'll start recruiting in December. We expect to be in bodies, as it were, by January.
So you're a couple of years away from commercialization.
I'd say, I mean, it's about a 10 to 12 month trial, maybe 14 at the outside. So if all goes smoothly, 18 months.
Got it. So I think it's an interesting device. It's did you, and I don't want to ask a preventative question, you know, which is often asked of female founders, but we're seeing a lot of products that are geared toward women who can't put something inside them. Have you thought about that? There's a lot of cultural, they can't use tampons, they can't put something, they can only use pads. And so I just was wondering if you had thought about that, because there is a large segment of the market apparently that cannot use, and some of it's religious, some of it's cultural. Again, I'm sorry, I'm asking a preventative question, but that was the first thing that struck me.
Well, I think what I would jump in and say is half of all American women have used a tampon. So at least half of the women we'd be targeting have a history of using something intravaginally. I would also say that for religious reasons, you might not, but if it comes right down to leaking all day long and not having a surgical option or not being open to surgery, then this might be something for which you would overcome your reservations, particularly if the clinician is strongly pushing it. And what really got me into the business was not just that my co-founder approached me, but I showed a rendering of this to a fellow dance mom who's an OB-GYN, and her immediate response was, oh my goodness, is that available? I'd send my patients just to go buy that for themselves. Can I invest? It's like a series of questions. So there is pent-up demand on the clinician side to have something simpler and straightforward to offer that, you know, tides women over near term, or that tides them over on their way to surgery.
Melody, I think it's a great solution. It's very elegant. I'm on the board of a company called Kindra, which is menopause solutions. And so we've looked at the space a little bit. I'm curious about the relationship between the device and the coaching. Are you seeing the coach, because if the device works great, like, isn't that the beginning and the end of it? Or how are you seeing the interplay between the device and the training process?
So I think for every woman, there's a combination of interventions that are effective. Some will do pelvic floor physical therapy and maybe just wear something like our pessary until they restore their natural continence. Others don't want to even try something like that. So it just depends on the person. We see this as the quick fix, as I said. So for some women, it will be the fix, and they'll just use it until maybe they need surgery. For other women, it will tide them over until they can restore things, or they'll use them in combination. So the great thing about our device, they didn't mention, it's easy to remove. That means you can just wear it at the gym or just for a jog. Whereas a lot of products like this are thought of as implants and are worn for 6 months at a time, which doesn't appeal. So it's a flexible use model. Now, the way they're connected, in the most direct way, there will be pessary therapy support offered as part of our virtual care platform. But the core of it will really be more around exercise, fluid management, and quite honestly, social support. So women helping each other through we'll have a social component with peers, other women solving the same challenge, as well as the coach.
Related to that, sorry, were you done, Anna? Can you talk a little bit about the competitive positioning? What are the alternatives? You know, you started talking about it a little bit, but can you expand on how you think about the competitive products for this?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, incontinence pads are the #1 competitor, followed by surgery. So I think in terms of how we will speak with consumers, we'll more often than not compare to those alternatives. The direct competitors on the market today in the US are two. There's Poison Presso, which is positioned as very much a personal hygiene product. In fact, it used to sit on shelves between incontinence and menstrual products. And the Revive bladder support, which is a 30-day disposable. This is an everyday disposable. What I would say is that these are less comfortable. Most importantly, one of them is quite effective and they inspired our product, but they are less comfortable than ours, more expensive and less convenient. And these are the reasons that clinicians aren't fans of them. We intend, though, to take a fitness-oriented angle in our brand development and in our marketing, and really focus on exercise, remaining active, and offering services.
Okay, thank you very much, Melody. Great presentation, good questions. Thank you. So we've heard from 4 teams, so exciting. And we are now up to our final team, WovX, with Veenu King. So Veenu, take it away.
Sure. Hello, we are WovX, a US-based B2B supplier of Lotus Silk to luxury wear manufacturers and brands. I'm Veenu King, the CEO, and with me is my co-founder, Elaine Lack, our COO. We are both second-year master students at the Yale School of the Environment. Elaine will begin the pitch.
Hello, thank you, Veenu. So fast fashion today does more harm than good for the planet and the human body. Fossil fuel-derived textiles contribute to the climate and environmental crisis, while chemical additives from dyes and solvents seep into bodies and water. Furthermore, manufacturing and unregulated supply chains can exploit vulnerable communities. So luxury fabrics today do not embody the true meaning of luxury, the state of great comfort and extravagant living. To create these fabrics, materials undergo intense processing with a myriad of chemicals to produce products that harm consumers and contribute to guilt at purchase. What if we could provide a fabric that meets the definition of luxury, is beneficial to people, regenerative, while outperforming other luxury textiles, such as conventional silk and linen? Introducing Lotus Silk by WovX, a fabric designed by nature and the world's only natural microfiber. Lotus is one of the world's oldest plants and holds cultural and spiritual significance. Currently, lotus silk is entirely handmade by local Vietnamese farmers and craftspeople who have found a way to reuse the stems of the lotus plant that would otherwise be discarded. This fabric signifies high status and wealth when worn. So lotus silk has many favorable properties, such as being waterproof, thermal regulating, breathable, and comparable in strength to conventional silk. Its sustainability is unmatched with minimal emissions during automated production. It is also biodegradable and no chemicals are used during manufacturing. So why now? Luxury brands are searching for the next fabric that is both elusive and sustainable, capitalizing on the megatrends of sustainability and spirituality. As first market movers, our approach and strategy can bring this fabric to scale, being a viable substitution option for other textiles.
So we see ourselves fitting into the textile market, specifically silk and luxury fabrics. And compared to other fabrics, lotus silk is superior in terms of being natural and regenerative to the planet. And though there's competition in the luxury fabric markets, we still see ourselves as having an edge due to low cost, no chemical processing, and an IP on our technology. The silk industry is currently valued at $10 billion and is expected to grow 9.5% over the next 6 years. Our initial focus is to take over the silk luxury market for apparel. However, we do see potential and opportunity to expand into other spaces like home goods and medical supplies. And how do we accomplish this? Well, we intend to be the first to bring the sustainable fabric to the EU, US, and Asian markets at a commercial scale. After centralizing current suppliers, we aim to optimize current manufacturing processes of this fabric with our patented technology to scale operations. And so our MVP is the pure lotus textile. Tangentially, we would like to conduct R&D on blending this material with other fabrics. As of right now, we have already begun the design of our machine to automate current production, and we hope to be ready for scale production in the coming year. Our customer profile has 3 major segments within the apparel market. Because our scale of our production will be small to begin with, we are interested in really targeting boutique designers. However, as we increase scale and supply, we will be targeting larger players interested in sustainable luxury materials. Our current financial projections with the automized production put us at a 65% profit margin in year 1 and a 79% profit margin for year 2. And this is our team. I myself have experience in tech startups, supply chains, and data science, and come from an operations research background.
And I come from a background in agriculture, international development, life cycle assessment, industrial ecology, and business. Our CTO is Michael Mann, who is experienced in industrial automation, technology, aviation, and transportation.
And lastly, our advisor is Professor Marian Tirtajana. She's a prominent figure in the industrial ecology and circular economy space and the director here for the Center of Industrial Ecology at Yale. Thank you so much, and we welcome questions.
Can you talk about your pricing and how it's going to compare to existing fabrics?
Sure. So as of right now, a scarf made by hand with this material is about $300. Now, because a lot of that is really taking into account the cost of production, it is very labor intensive and takes a lot of time. And so with this automation, we expect the cost to go down to $100 or even less, to be honest, because we intend to automate fiber extraction and weaving, which are the 2 labor intensive processes. So our price point really can be anywhere from $300 to $700 per 1.5 meters of fabric. And these numbers that you're looking at in terms of production and cost is really for 1 hectare of land. And this is only looking at 1 city in Vietnam. So it's very, very small scale what we intend to do with our initial MVP. Lotus has grown like literally all of Asia. And what we're using is byproducts. We're not actually growing the lotus ourselves. We're taking discarded lotus stems. So really our costs for material inputs are really low.
What would those lotus stems ordinarily be used for? Are there other applications? I mean, or they just fall there, they would not be used at all?
Correct, they would not be used. Typically they're left on the ground to re-add nutrients into the soil.
I might have missed this, but can you talk to us a little bit more about the machine and the process and how it actually works? Like where will you find the machine? Are you kind of co-manufacturing the machine itself, co-designing it?
Yeah, sure. Great question. So the production of this fabric, there's 3 stages: harvesting the lotus and growing it, extracting the fiber, and then weaving the fiber into a fabric. What we're working on right now, and we're developing in-house our own device to do the fiber extraction and the weaving. Initially just fiber extraction, planning to solve pieces at a time. And our inspiration for this that kind of validated that this is an opportunity that we can do and use is the fact that about 3 years ago, a group of university students, like 5 of them, spent 2 months building a semi-automated version of a fiber extraction tool for Vietnamese farmers. Nothing happened. It won its prize, and then that was the end of it. But that was our signal that, hey, this is possible, this is feasible. We can fully automate this.
Got it. And so is the machine, have you already produced the machine and is it working, or are you in process of building it?
Great question. So our design, our blueprint is going to be finished in about mid-November, so a couple weeks from now. And then we begin the development of it. And so that's where our funds come in, is to buy the materials, the equipment, to really build the iterations on developing this machine. But we have a very talented engineer, so we're very excited to see what comes out of it.
And how do you think about the B2B opportunity of, it sounds like the crux of what you guys have figured out is the manufacturing process and based in the machine itself. Whereas the Lotus, anyone can source and anyone can figure out. How do you think about selling the machine versus, selling the silk?
Go ahead, Elaine.
Okay, so that was a question that we were asking ourselves. Do we want to be a company that sells and leases a machine that can weave lotus silk, or do we want to be a vertically integrated company? And we determined that in order to protect our IP and to create a barrier of entry, it would be best to maintain a level of confidentiality within our company by vertically integrating the process. And as a B2B company, we see that there is currently demand with a company called Tirtajana that sources lotus silk from a undisclosed Myanmar supplier. However, they're limited severely by how much that supplier can produce, which is why we believe that we can provide that scalability that they're looking for.
And we do have a boutique designer who's interested, once the machine is developed, to purchase this from us. So we see the demand is there.
Questions? When it's speechless. Okay, well, we're at time according to my watch. So Elaine and Veenu, thank you so much for a great presentation. Super interesting. So what we're going to do now is I want to just now transition into our next period, which is the judge deliberations period. So our judges are going to go to a separate Zoom to evaluate the 5 pitches that they've seen this evening. Ellen will be dropping the link back into the chat if you need it, judges, but you can just depart and go into that Zoom session so that you can you can talk about what you saw this evening and ultimately choose a winner. In the meantime, hey, Paula, I see you're back. Hi. So if you need that Zoom, Ellen has dropped that Zoom into the chat for us behind the scenes. You can depart and go to that Zoom room. And in the meantime, I would like to invite my teammates to the screen. I would like to invite Sam Hendel, Gary Stewart, Michael Lewitas, and Chris Brady there's Chris. Okay. And I'm going to hand it over to them. Paula, do you have the link that you need for the judging? Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to share my screen here in a moment. There's Michael, and I will go off screen. Okay. Go for it, Chris. Are you going to share the screen or do you need me to?
Can you please share the screen?
Sure. Is Betty, oh, actually Betty is not here, so you might need to present for Betty.
I'll let Sam present upright and I'll just start with Kova Dx. Is that all right?
Okay, so
Yeah.
just so that everybody knows, what we'd like to do is I just want to turn it over to my teammates to talk about the semifinalists in this competition. So go ahead, Chris.
All right. Can we start with Kova Dx, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
That's all right. Well, those were some fantastic presentations. Thanks to all of our contestants. We had a great series of runners up. And so I'm going to go through quickly 5 semifinalists. First up is Kova Dx. They also presented in our February pitch off, and they've had some meaningful updates. So I'll go through it again. Kova Dx provides affordable and accurate AI-based diagnostics and monitoring tool for sickle cell disease. It images live samples to diagnose and provide an index of health of the red blood cells, reducing time from 2 days to under a minute at a fraction of the cost. Since February, they've received an NSF STTR phase 1 grant to build unique monitoring algorithms. They've hired a computer vision expert as their chief engineer. They began data collection for CBC application and established 10 pilot sites in the greater Accra region for their first generation of devices. They've also received an LOI for the first $2 million of product from one of the largest medical distributors in Ghana. Wendy, if you could go on to BatchBud. Thanks. BatchBud translates data across production team software, eliminating double entry and providing the tools needed for a competitive edge. They're focused on small manufacturers, those with less than 100 employees, that struggle to source and pay for raw material. And then once they've done so, it's difficult to manage the inventory, and all of this creates costly inefficiencies. Their solution is a crowdsourced ERP system that integrates with existing business processes and software, providing the tools necessary to scale operations by coordinating production. So far, they've raised $390,000 under a SAFE, and they're initiating a $2 million seed round that will be priced. MOL, please. MOL is focused on expectant parents who screen as at risk for postpartum depression. MOL is devoted to making mental health and well-being accessible, leading to better health outcomes for women, moms, babies, and families. They combine software and services to create a scalable and accessible approach, which utilizes deep analytics to deliver timely and relevant support, guidance, and education. It reduces healthcare costs and lost time while increasing retention and engagement. They have 3 pilots with 2 hospitals in the UPenn health system, and they're scheduled to launch a 4th pilot in this 4th quarter. They're currently raising up to $1 million in SAFE at a $5 million post money. And for all of these companies, if you're interested in learning more, please reach out to us. We're happy to connect you, or you can see their emails right there on the screen. Trust Ride, please.
Sorry, it's not advancing. Hold on, Chris.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Why is it not?
Sometimes there's a lag.
Yeah, okay. It's not moving at all. Hold on. Oh, there it goes.
All right. Trust Ride Certified makes any form of transportation accessible for non-emergency medical and other essential services by deploying trained chaperones to assist clients. Rides are tracked by vehicle software integrated into TRC Chaperone into their app, and can be monitored by the TRC manager and service providers. Rides, this can take people from going curb to curb to door to or through door transportation, which is a big, a game changer for certain patients. It's a shared savings model in a cost plus arrangement with their partners, and is a fee for service. Their initial year, which is getting renewed for a second year, had $550,000 in federal funding from HHS grants, with 2 nonprofit partners, a large healthcare system and a large community agency. They're working on commitments from new sites in New Mexico and California, and there's an additional 6 in development.
Okay, I think Betty is here. So let me just check. Betty, let me check you in the. So we do have Betty Tang, who will present for Upright, and I'm just going to find her. Are you there, Betty?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Okay, can you turn on your video, or do you not see yourself? There you are. Excellent. I'm going to bring up your slide. Welcome, Betty.
Perfect. Thanks so much for having me.
Sure. Okay, hold on one moment. Okay. And it'll just be a moment while it scrolls through here. There we go.
Perfect. Amazing. Well, thanks so much for giving me this opportunity to share a bit about Upright. So I'm Betty. I'm the founder of Upright, which makes delicious plant-based foods that are better for people and our planet, starting with a high protein instant oat milk. So you can see a picture of that in the top left corner here of the screen. It's been a really exciting time for the company. In the last few months, I'd say some of the big updates that I wanted to just share with the group were that we've pivoted to this instant powdered formulation. So previously it was a liquid product, and we found that during COVID, we were getting a lot of excitement from customers about this powdered format, which enables a lot more portability and convenience because you can take it on the go wherever and whenever you want. You can just add water and you've got instant oat milk. So we finalized that formulation now with a team of food scientists, and we've built out the supply chain. We've ordered all the ingredients and all that good stuff. So we're about probably 2 months out from launch right now, which is really exciting. We've also gotten a bunch of national food distributors and wholesalers as well who have agreed to carry our product and share the product with their network of retailers, which numbered about 200,000. So we're really excited to go to market in the next couple of months with the product. We've also launched on our website as well. So that's like a direct-to-consumer platform where customers can pre-order right now. So if you're interested, I'd welcome you to check out our website. The link is there right under our logo at uprightoats.com. And so far, we've actually sold out to about 5,000 units. We've only got about 50% left of stock in the next couple of months before we actually go live. So if you're interested, I definitely encourage you to purchase now. I would also mention that a big update is that we're accepted into the IndieBio Accelerator program, which is based out of New York City, and is a leading biotech accelerator program. So we've been working with them for the last 2 months or so and are excited to do demo day in January. We're also fundraising right now. So we've been fundraising on Republic, which is an equity crowdfunding platform for anyone who's not familiar. So if you're interested, I'd welcome you to check out our campaign as well. The link is republic.co/upright. And you can see that link also on the slide here. And so far, we've raised about $360,000 from over 900 investors now. So I would love to have more Yaleys join that group. So I'll stop there. But thank you again so much for this opportunity to share and give an update.
Thank you so much, Betty. We're so thrilled to hear this update. And thanks for popping in to give us all this information. So we wish you the very best of luck. Okay, so Sam, would you like to take it away?
Great, thank you, Wendy. And yeah, so I'd like to take a moment to tell you, to tell everyone about the little bit about the history of Accelerate Yale and Yale Angels. We started Accelerate Yale back about 6 years ago as a nonprofit with the idea to strengthen the ecosystem of Yale alums interested in startups and entrepreneurship. And while Yale had churned out, highly successful companies like Pinterest and Twitch and Olo and many more, we felt that the connectivity was really lacking, not only between alumni and alumni, but the important connection also between alumni and the amazing things happening on Yale's campus, both in the grad school and also with undergrads. And so we initially focused on 3 areas. 1, social and professional networking. 2, educating our community about venture and angel investing and bringing Yaleys together to learn about emerging sectors and companies. And 3, elevating entrepreneurship as a key part of the Yale experience. Developing connective tissue between Yale alums and between Yale alumni organizations and student groups such as the Yale Entrepreneurial Society, and broadly, to really help entrepreneurship be part of the Yale brand. And we really, first and foremost, we want people to think about Yale as a place where creativity can thrive, where a young person can start a business and change the world, and where they have support all the way up from the germination of an idea as a student up to an IPO as an alum and everything in between. Now, launching Yale Angels in 2019 was a natural next step for us, as a huge part of supporting Yaleys and their companies is introducing them to capital and making those connections with the many angels and VCs within the Yale community. And throughout our history, we've found tremendous support for our efforts throughout the Yale community and the administration. And I'd be remiss, I know we said it before, but I wanted to give another shout out to the Office of Yale Development, the Office of Development at Yale. They've been absolutely incredible partners as we've grown our organization. And Jim Kenny, Joan O'Neill and team, we really appreciate all the support. Now we've done many successful events throughout our history, and we haven't let COVID slow us down. And just like any good startup, we pivoted from in-person events, before COVID, to Zoom webinars. And we started that, in March of 2020, when kind of the world had stopped. And we've had an incredible series of speaker events over the last year and a half with alums from companies like Reddit and Thumbtack, the amazing not-for-profit IMALS by my classmate Brian Wallach, Genius.com, the biotech unicorn Roy Vant, and many, many more. And I'd encourage you all to check out those on, Accelerate Yale has a YouTube channel. So please go ahead and check out our YouTube channel. And there are some amazing webinars and educational opportunities for all of us there. And just I'll close, the organization, we continue to grow as we move into 2022. And please stay tuned for the possibility of in-person events starting soon, potentially in New York City next month. We are planning something. And our email list is up to a whopping 4,500 members. And we're absolutely thrilled to host events like this and keep the momentum going. Now, getting back to tonight's event, to determine the 5 finalists, we really needed to find independent reviewers to help us review the submissions. And we want to take a moment to thank everyone who helped us in the process. And I'll turn it over to my colleague, Adam Brenner, who can talk about the first few. Wendy, is Adam around, or is he stuck on the work thing?
He said that he might not be able to present.
All right, I'll keep going.
Oh, wait, let's see. I hear somebody. Adam, is that you? No, it's Paula. Paula,
Okay.
would you mind going off screen?
Yeah, I'll go on, absolutely. Yeah, so
Okay.
first we'd like to thank Hearst Lab for their assistance here. Jacqueline Duvall, Yale College class of '83, is a Hearst Lab scout, and she helped to recruit the following scouts to help us: Donna Baker Miller, Eunice Mendoza, Tiffany Liu, and Emmeline Hermans. I'd also like to recognize and thank the 6 experienced Yale alumni investors who stepped up to review decks and help us to narrow down the field and minimize bias in the review process. These independent reviewers are Fredua Acosa, MPH 2017, who's a VC investor, University of Oxford alum, and Said Business School alum, Megan Ananian, MBA 2019, general partner at The Helm, Rashida Bob, MPH 03, principal at Bricks Health, BJ Jacobs, 04, Managing Principal at Goshen Park Capital. Russ Corrins, 94. Hey, Russ. Senior Counsel, Cohen, Tauber, Spivak, and Wagner. And he also helped us recruit some of the reviewers. Kunal Lunawat, class of 2011, co-founder and managing partner of Agia Ventures, and Samantha Schoenfeld, 96, senior counsel at Bortstein Legal Group. And we're really grateful for all of you. And now I'd like to introduce Gary Stewart, another member of our leadership team, who will tell us about some of the pro bono services we're offering our finalists.
Well, thank you for that, Sam. And I'd like to give a shout out to all of the alumni who are offering amazing pro bono services to our finalists. All 5 finalists will receive expert services from Michael Lewittis, who is giving expert advice on SEO. Michael is the founder of Gossip Cop, which was successfully acquired, so he's an entrepreneur himself. They'll also receive free feedback from Laura Brennan in the form of a 1-hour pitch coaching session, and she is a professional pitch consultant. Adam Brenner will give a session on legal tips for an initial equity raise. And he is, of course, I think he's a partner maybe at DLA Piper. And they'll also receive finally 1 hour of complimentary legal IP services covering copyright, patent, and trademark with Kevin Christopher, who was an executive MBA in the class of 23 of Rockridge Law. The winner will also receive services from all the people mentioned, but will also receive a $10,000 prize and 1 hour of growth marketing assistance from Laura Brand of the class of 92, and an extra hour with Kevin Christopher, who I mentioned before. So thanks to all of the alumni who are giving such amazing prizes and services. And now I'd like to turn it over to our newest member of the Accelerate Yale team/family, Michael Lewittis.
Thank you, Gary. And I want to mention some upcoming events for everyone so you can mark your calendars. On October 26th at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, SciCity is sponsoring another Pathways in Innovation talk with Joseph Tsai. He'll interview 2 co-founders of SnackPass, Kevin Tan, class of 17, and Jamie Marshall. So please register at city.yale.edu. Then on the 15th of November from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, we're co-sponsoring an event with Yale Fin in person at the Yale Club of New York, featuring Basar Ghosh. He was PhD, class of 95 of 8VC. And please check out the YA events calendar online at alumni.yale.edu. Finally, on November 18th at 8 p.m., Careers Life in Yale is co-sponsoring an event with Alexandra Kavulikas. I'm sorry if I mangled her name. She's class of 08, and she's the co-founder of The Muse. So check out YA events calendar online at, again, alumni.yale.edu. Wendy?
Sure. Thank you so much, you guys. That's great to hear. So my understanding is that our judges have reached a decision. So I would like to welcome the judges back, as well as all of our contestants. See if all of our contestants are back yet. Okay. Hedi. Let's see here. Melody is missing. She did message me, but okay. Melody. Oh, I think Melody's coming.
Hear me? Yes, we can hear you.
There you are, Melody. Yes. Can you bring yourself onto the screen? There you go. Okay. All right. Excellent. So, Ellen, does one of the judges want to announce the decision? How would you like to?
Oh, I don't think we talked through that.
Okay.
So
would we like to talk about the runner-up and then the winner?
Yes, absolutely. So we had a very lively and spirited debate on the judging. There were a lot of great companies coming through. I think the general feedback was that it was great pitches all around, companies that we haven't seen before, and companies that had very well thought out and well practiced pitches. It was really exciting to be able to see companies from a lot of different industries and a lot of different stages coming through. So the judges also did want to highlight a runner-up. So even though we aren't able to offer the funding, but we are able to offer the kind of additional in-kind services, but just someone whose pitch they wanted to highlight in addition to the winner. So our runner-up for tonight is DiversiBoard. Eleanor.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Very
We're
kind of you.
impressed.
Thank you
Do
very
any of
much.
the
Thank you very much.
judges want to offer some comments to Eleanor?
Thank you. I look forward to receiving the comments. I'm avidly taking notes.
Okay.
Well, we'll
Excellent.
put comments for each company that we'll pass back to you. But Eleanor, I think what we were really compelled by was, the idea of the fingerprint solution as a potential differentiator in the employee candidate matching market, and also your take on a unique way and channel for finding potential candidates, which is a real challenge for companies. So I think you have a unique lens on a market of candidates that you can reach through this platform that we found particularly exciting. So really loved hearing from you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Well done, Eleanor. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Very
well
much.
done.
Thank you.
All right. And we appreciate the feedback from the judges for all of our teams. That's always very much in demand. Okay.
Thank you.
So
Thank
Ellen.
you.
All right, so without further ado, I will announce the winner of our Yale Angels Female Founders and Underrepresented Founders Pitch Off. The winner for this round, everybody do a quiet drum roll. We would like to award the prize to Jawsaver. We are very excited to do so. Do any of the judges want to offer some commentary?
Sure. Well, I mean, the problem resonated with, I think, all of us on the judging panel. And the fact that you had some adoring customers, or at least in the whatchamacallit, in the trial, said a lot. All of the companies were early. And we thought it was a great solution. So we're excited to see where you go with it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I've been so inspired by all the pitches and all the judges, as well as the runner-ups and the semi-finalists. And really thank you for the opportunity, and really looking forward to making this available for a lot of people. So thank you.
Wonderful. Congratulations on becoming our grand winner of our $10,000 prize, with the additional pro bono services from Yale alumni included. And so we will be in touch with you to follow up with you on all of that information. But for all 5 finalists, we will be following up with all of you with the feedback, as well as the connection to the valuable pro bono services that Yale alumni offered to all of you. And so with that, we conclude tonight's pitch competition. We want to thank all of the team members who contributed to organizing this pitch event, our wonderful judges who volunteered their time tonight and their valuable expertise. We want to thank the stars of the show, our panelists, our actual pitching teams tonight, who did such a fabulous job. All of you have really intriguing, inspiring businesses, and we hope that all of you will go on to that next stage and be incredibly successful. And finally, we want to thank our audience, our loyal audience, for tuning in tonight and supporting our entrepreneurs and our entrepreneurship community. We want to thank all of you for being such loyal members of Accelerate Yale and Yale Angels. And we look forward to seeing you at future events. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
So much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.